Mr. Sanjeev Kanotra is one of the well-known civil services trainers in India. His area of teaching includes public administration and Indian polity for civil services examinations. Let me welcome Mr. Sanjeev Kanotra for today's webinar on exam tips to Indian polity.
Students, I am Sanjeev Kanotra. I am faculty of Vedic IS Academy. Today, we are going to discuss the pattern of questions of Indian polity in civil services preliminary exam. We shall examine the trend of Indian polity in general study paper for the past 10 years. Here, our focus will be on two main issues. Number one, the number of questions we get from Indian polity in general study paper and their topic-wise distribution. And number two, what type of questions we generally get, whether we get factual questions or conceptual questions, and what is the level of their toughness, whether they are easier one or moderate one, or we get tougher one. If we analyze the trend of past 10 years, we find that every year we get approximately 12 to 15 questions from the Indian polity. And in recent time, we are also getting questions pertaining to governance and public policy. As far as this segment is concerned, here more focus is on current issues. For our convenience, we can divide Indian polity into different topics like these. The first topic we can divide in polity is like act-based questions and constitutional amendment. In the last 10 years, we find that there were 5 to 6 questions from this segment. Then salient features of constitution including preamble. For the last 10 years, we got approximately 15 questions from this segment. Then fundamental rights, directive principle of state policies, and fundamental duties. This is important segment, and in last 10 years, we find that there were approximately 30 questions from this segment. Then the system of government. Union government, state government. It includes legislature, executive, and judiciary. It is one of the most important topic in Indian polity. And in last 10 years, we are getting, every year in fact, we are getting more and more questions from this topic. And in last 10 years, there were more than 40 questions from this topic. Then, next topic is union-state relationship. From this topic, we got approximately 10 to 12 questions in past. And again, local bodies, in recent years, more particularly in 4 to 5 years, this topic has become more important. And we have got 10 questions from this area. And then constitutional bodies like Comptroller and Auditor General, Union Public Service Commission, State Public Service Commissions, Election Commission, Scheduled Caste Commission, and Commission for Scheduled Tribe, etc. From here we got roughly 6 to 7 questions, and rest of the questions are miscellaneous questions. From our analysis, it appears that topic fundamental right, DPSP and fundamental duties, system of government, union-state relationship and local bodies. These constitute the core of Indian polity. These topics are more important as more questions are coming from this area. But it does not mean that we can easily ignore other areas. In fact, other areas are also important. You never know on a given day from where you will get the questions. So we have to be covering all the topics, all the areas, but focus should be more here. Then our second question is that what kind of questions we get? As far as act-based questions are there and constitutional amendments are there, here we mainly or almost we find factual questions. For example, the distribution of powers between union and state is taken from the Act of 1935. The second topic, salient feature of the Constitution including preamble. Again, from this topic we get mostly factual questions, but sometimes we get good conceptual questions as well. For example, what is the relationship between law and order? What is the relationship between law and liberties? Choices: more law, less liberty; no law, no liberty. If law can be changed, liberty is in danger, and less law, more liberty. It seems to be very confusing, but if you know the concept of what exactly the liberty is, if you know that liberty is not absolute freedom, if you know that liberty is restricted freedom, then it will become very easy for you to choose that no law, no liberty. Then the topic fundamental right, DPSP and fundamental duties. Again, from this topic we get mixtures. We get factual questions as well as conceptual questions. Factual questions like economic welfare is established, for example, by DPSPs. Conceptual questions, there will be choices, and the question is that which of the following is not provision of rule of law. So we get this kind of question. Then system of the government. It is important quantitative wise as well as quality wise. Quality wise means it is the topic from where we mostly get conceptual questions. For example, there is parliamentary form of government because number one, a parliament can amend the constitution. Number two, council of minister is accountable to the parliament. And number three, C, parliament makes law. The choices will be there: 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1 only, 2 only. If you are clear with the concept, what is the gist, what is the essence of parliamentary form of the government, only then you will arrive at correct answer. Otherwise it will be confusing and it will be wasting your time, and ultimately you are also doing it wrong. So the essence of parliamentary democracy is that accountability of the government to the parliament. So the correct answer is this. Then again, Supreme Court tender advice to the president. There are different choices. At its own initiative. 2. If he means the president, if he seeks advice C, only matters related to fundamental right. Again, choices will be 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3, or only 1. Like change. But you will be able to attempt this questions only if you are thoroughly clear regarding the advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. And once if you will be clear, then it will be easy for you to say that it is not at the initiative of Supreme Court. Supreme Court comes to the picture only if the President asks. And secondly, the answer is second. If he seeks advice, only then Supreme Court will render advice. And third, only matter related to fundamental right? No, it can be related to any important public issue. So the correct answer will be this. Then the next is union-state relationship, center-state relationship. Here, mostly you find factual questions. Factual question means which are not the necessary consequences of proclamation of emergency under Article 356, like whether dissolution of assembly take place, or council of ministries is dissolved, or local body is dissolved. Very simple. The council of ministries is dissolved, and the legislature, either it can be dissolved or it cannot be dissolved. It can be suspended. So here you will find only such kind of questions. And then constitutional bodies, here you will find factual questions only. What is the composition of National Developmental Council? And then miscellaneous questions, it pertain to administration or it pertain to current political issues. And if we analyze, so far our discussion is concerned, so we come to know that which area is important for conceptual clarity, where we should be focusing to clear our concept, and which area is important from the factual point of view. Then naturally a question emerged how we should be preparing for these questions. As far as factual questions are concerned, our focus should be on what? Our focus should be on reading wide as far as possible. Remember one thing, we don't have to reproduce the answer. We have to only recognize the answer. So, as far as factual questions are concerned, you should be widely read. Read more and more books. And as far as conceptual questions are concerned, we should be focusing more on clearing the concept. Pertaining to question, what is this, why this, how this, when this, where this, we should be focusing upon these questions. As far as what to study, we know that there is a lot of material. But the important point is that what we should be studying exactly. Here it becomes important for me to tell you that our focus should be only on few books. For example, we can study Lakshmikant, Indian Polity by Lakshmikant sir, and for further conceptual clarity, we can go through the NCERT 11th class book. We can study that as well. The important question is how to study. Remember, Indian polity is very important component of general studies. The reason being is that the other component of general study other than the Indian polity, you find question here very vague. Vague in the sense that the syllabus of other component of general study is too huge. And from this, you never know from where you will get the question. But as far as the Indian polity is concerned, if you are thoroughly prepared, if you are conceptually strong, and if you have gone through 2 to 3 books, you become comfortable to attempt almost all the questions. Because the level of the questions, as we discussed, is moderate or slightly above than the moderate. So the point here is that while dealing with factual questions, we should be focusing upon, as far as possible, wide reading. You should be widely read. But as far as the conceptual questions are concerned, we should examine the topic thoroughly. And while approaching near to your exam, the focus should be more on conceptual portion. And for that purpose, you should be making notes on the concept of Indian polity, and during last time you should be revising those notes as well. But if you are starting your preparation, for that purpose, you give just one reading of these textbooks. And while going to study these textbooks again, you should follow, or you should first of all go through the 10-year questions of UPSC, so that you come to know what kind of questions they are asking. And while preparing, while reading the book, you should focusing upon that aspect. You should be knowing that what kind of questions are probably coming from this concept. So your orientation will be more toward UPSC rather than simply reading the Indian polity. So these are important tips for those who are preparing afresh and those who are going to appear preliminary this time. Best of luck.